Right now, deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, a creature the size of a school bus is performing a song. Not noise, not a call, a structured, evolving musical composition. And the most extraordinary part? Whales thousands of miles away are learning that exact same song, without ever meeting. This is real, and it changes everything. Humpback whales are among the largest animals to ever exist on this planet. But their size isn't what makes them remarkable. It's their minds. Scientists have spent over 50 years studying their songs. And recently, they mapped something nobody expected. These whales don't just communicate. They share culture. They spread music. And the ocean has its own viral chart. Most people assume whale sounds are simple. Low rumbles, distant echoes bouncing through dark water. That assumption is completely wrong. Humpback whale songs are among the most structurally sophisticated vocalizations ever recorded in the animal kingdom. They are not random. They are not instinctive noise. They are organized, layered, and intentional compositions that follow a precise architecture. Here is how it breaks down. Each song contains what researchers call units, the smallest individual sounds. Several units combine to form a phrase. Repeated phrases build a theme, and multiple themes strung together create the full song. It is structured almost exactly like human music, with verses, refrains, and recurring motifs. Only male humpbacks sing, and they do so almost exclusively during breeding season. A single performance can last anywhere from 6 to 35 continuous hours. No breaks, no repetition, pure, sustained composition. The vocal range spans frequencies so low that without specialized hydrophone equipment, human ears cannot even detect them. The man who first brought this to public attention was Dr. Roger Payne, a biologist who recorded humpback songs off Bermuda in 1967. When he released those recordings to the world, the response was unlike anything marine science had seen. People were stunned. These weren't animal sounds, they felt like art. Dr. Payne's work didn't just spark scientific curiosity. It helped launch the global Save the Whales movement. Because once people heard those songs, they couldn't unhear them. And that changed everything about how humanity chose to see the ocean. Here is where the story becomes genuinely extraordinary. At any given moment across an entire ocean basin, every singing humpback whale is performing the same song. Not a similar song, not a related version. The exact same song, same phrases, same themes, same structure. Thousands of individual animals, spread across millions of square kilometers of open ocean, all singing in remarkable synchrony. But it does not stop there. The song changes. Gradually, over weeks and months, new elements are introduced. Old phrases get replaced. Themes shift and evolve. And as the song changes, every whale across that basin updates their version. The entire population moves together, like a global playlist getting its weekly refresh. Researchers studying the South Pacific made a discovery that genuinely shook the scientific community. New songs did not spread randomly. They traveled in a clear, consistent direction, west to east. A song originating near Eastern Australia would appear months later in French Polynesia. Then it would surface in the Cook Islands. Eventually, it reached the waters off South America. The transmission followed migration corridors and zones where whale populations briefly overlapped. Think of it this way. Imagine a new sound trend starting in London. Within months, it spreads to New York, then Chicago, then Los Angeles, following the routes people travel and the cities where cultures briefly mix. That is exactly what humpback song transmission looks like, mapped across the Pacific. The ocean has a music chart, and scientists finally have the data to prove it. The question that follows naturally is, how? How does a whale learn a song it has only partially heard from an animal it may never directly encounter again? The answer lies in one of the rarest cognitive abilities found anywhere in the natural world, vocal learning. Vocal learning is the capacity to hear a sound, internalize its structure, and reproduce it accurately. It sounds simple. It is not. The vast majority of animals on Earth cannot do this. They are born with fixed vocalizations hardwired into their biology. What they are born knowing is what they will always know. No updates, no adaptation, no learning. The species that demonstrate genuine vocal learning are a remarkably short list. Humans, certain songbirds, dolphins, elephants to a limited degree, and humpback whales. That is essentially it. Out of millions of species on this planet, only a handful can hear something new and choose to replicate it. For humpbacks, the process appears to work through gradual acoustic integration. A whale encounters a fragment of a new song, perhaps during a brief overlap in feeding grounds or migration corridors. That fragment gets absorbed. Over time, the new elements begin appearing in their own performances. Eventually, full adoption spreads through the connected population. Scientists tracked this process using networks of underwater hydrophones positioned across the Pacific. By comparing recordings from different regions and dating when new song elements first appeared in each location, they reconstructed the transmission timeline with striking precision. The data showed that a single whale or small group can introduce a new pattern, and within 2 years, an entire ocean population adopts it. For decades, researchers suspected that humpback songs traveled. The evidence was suggestive but incomplete. Then a wave of long-term acoustic studies transformed that suspicion into documented fact, and revealed a transmission system far more organized than anyone anticipated. The methodology was straightforward in concept but extraordinary in scale. Research teams stationed hydrophone arrays across multiple ocean regions simultaneously. They recorded continuously over years, cataloging every song element, tracking every variation. When a new phrase appeared in one region, they followed it, logging exactly when that same phrase showed up in recordings from progressively distant locations. The results created what is essentially a viral spread map. Not a metaphor, an actual map with timestamps showing how specific song innovations moved across ocean geography over measurable time periods. The pattern was unmistakable. Songs radiated outward from points of origin. They followed pathways corresponding to known whale migration routes, and they spread at speeds consistent with the pace of humpback seasonal movement. One landmark study tracked a complete song replacement event across the South Pacific. An entirely new song emerged near the east coast of Australia. Within approximately 2 years, that song had displaced the previous version across populations spanning from Australia to French Polynesia to Ecuador. The old song simply disappeared, replaced wholesale by the new one. What made this finding significant beyond marine biology was what it demonstrated about cultural transmission. This wasn't genetic. This wasn't instinct. This was learned behavior spreading horizontally through a population, the precise definition of culture. And it was happening in the ocean, among animals most people never consider capable of such complexity. The implications of what humpback whale songs reveal extend far beyond marine biology. They force a fundamental reconsideration of what intelligence means, what culture requires, and which species we allow into that conversation. For most of recorded human history, culture was considered exclusively human territory. The capacity to create shared traditions, to pass learned behaviors across generations, to modify those behaviors collectively over time, these were treated as the defining markers of advanced cognition. Other animals had instincts. Humans had culture. That distinction felt clean and comfortable. Humpback whales disrupt that boundary completely. What their song transmission demonstrates is textbook cultural evolution. A behavior originates. It spreads through a population via learning rather than genetics. It modifies over time based on collective input. Populations separated by geography develop divergent traditions. This is not instinct operating on autopilot. This is a living, evolving cultural system. The cognitive demands involved are substantial. To participate in this system, a whale must maintain accurate long-term acoustic memory. It must monitor change in the songs around it. It must update its own performance accordingly. It must distinguish between familiar patterns and novel innovations. These are not simple neurological tasks. They require sustained mental engagement with the social world. There is also a conservation dimension that rarely receives adequate attention. When a whale population collapses, we typically frame the loss in biological terms: reduced genetic diversity, disrupted ecosystems. But if these populations carry distinct cultural traditions, unique song lineages developed over generations, then the loss is also cultural. We are not only losing animals. We are losing irreplaceable knowledge systems that no other group on Earth holds. That reframe matters, because it means the stakes are higher than most conservation arguments acknowledge. Science has mapped the spread. It has documented the learning. It has confirmed the cultural transmission. And yet, the deeper you go into humpback whale song research, the more you encounter questions that remain genuinely unanswered. The honest truth is that we are still standing at the edge of understanding something vast. The most fundamental mystery is purpose. Why do the songs change? The leading hypothesis involves sexual selection. Females may prefer males singing the newest, most current version of the song, creating evolutionary pressure for rapid adoption of innovations. Supporting evidence exists, but no study has conclusively confirmed this mechanism. It remains a compelling theory, not an established fact. Who introduces new elements? When a novel phrase appears in the acoustic record, it originates somewhere with some specific individual. Researchers have not yet identified what distinguishes these apparent innovators from other members of the population. Is it age, social position, cognitive variation between individuals? The data does not yet say. Are permanent regional dialects forming? Evidence suggests that populations with less frequent overlap are beginning to develop increasingly distinct song traditions. Whether these diverge into stable, heritable dialects over generational timescales is an open research question with significant implications for understanding whale cultural identity. And then there is the problem of noise. Human activity has dramatically elevated background sound levels across every major ocean. Shipping traffic, sonar operations, industrial activity, all of it floods the acoustic environment that whales depend on for this transmission system. Whether that interference is degrading their ability to hear, learn, and propagate songs across distance is a question researchers are actively investigating. The early signals are not encouraging. The ocean is still speaking. We are still learning to listen. We came into this video with a headline, "Whales have a viral music chart." But what we leave with is something larger than that. We leave with the understanding that culture, memory, creativity, and tradition are not human inventions. They are solutions, and life finds those solutions wherever the conditions allow. A humpback whale, moving through dark water thousands of meters below the surface, is carrying a song it learned from another whale, that learned it from another, in a chain of acoustic memory stretching back further than any recording we have ever made. That song will change. It will travel. Someone will add something new to it, and that innovation will spread across an ocean. We did not teach them that. We did not give them that capacity. We simply, finally, started paying close enough attention to notice it was already there. The ocean is not empty. It never was. And the more carefully we listen, the more we discover that the most extraordinary things on this planet have been happening entirely without our awareness or our permission. If this documentary shifted how you see the natural world, even slightly, share it. Send it to someone who thinks the ocean is just water. And if you want to keep going deeper into the hidden intelligence of the living world, subscribe. Every video we make is built to show you something real that sounds impossible. One question before you go. Drop your answer below. Which part of this surprised you most? I read every single comment.